cut one side of all 16 of these, and this is the way it works. Okay, safety equipment. If you are not comfortable with your hand this close, you can make a special jig for this. And what I like to do is bring my blade down until I'm just barely cutting through my material. But I am going to be cutting the rest of these just like this. And what I'm doing is I have some tear out from my bandsaw, so I'm positioning it so that my first cut removes that tear out. And here we go. Okay, so I have one side of these 16 pattern bands, actually one side of them cut. I will now change my jig to slice the other side off, and then I will have my 16 segments for the pattern band that I'll be doing, which is made up of this checkerboard shape. Hopefully it turns out really nice. I'll cut the other side of all these and then I will check back in. Okay, so now I just adjusted my block so that now the leading edge of the blade is just hitting this corner here and will cut off the back side, leaving me with my segment for which will have an 11¼ degree angle on each side, which will give me my 16 segments. So once I have them cut, I will check back in with you, and you can see how they're going to go together. There is the pattern band, and once again I've glued it and wrapped it with saran wrap or any other type of cling wrap. I have the bowl chucked up here because I was thinking about it and I realized that if I put my pattern band on, this bowl was going to get so deep that I was going to have a hard time surfacing the bottom, or a much harder time surfacing the bottom than I would if I did it right now. So what I'm going to, the inside edge, I'm going to leave this top surface alone so that it'll give me a nice line to position my top pattern ring. Since it's the same size as these, it'll make it easier for me to leave this top ring alone. Don't do anything to it, just shape all of the inside and the bottom for now. Okay, now I'm switching over to my scraper. And, well, I don't know if you can see this here, but the bottom of this bowl has a huge section of pithy wood. So what I may have to end up doing is cutting the bottom of this bowl off and making a new bottom for it, unfortunately. That really sucks. Okay, I just made a jig to clamp this bowl on here so that I can cut the bottom off of the bowl and make a new bottom. A little setback. There we go. There it is. Had to cut that off. Alright, so now the bottom's cut off. Essentially what I did was took my sled and attached a board to it, and then clamped my bowl to that board so that I would be able to hold the bowl up in that position. And there you have it. Now the bottom's off. I'll take it over to my sander and sand the extra tiny little bit off the bottom so that I can get it flat and smooth again. And then I will be ready to make a new bottom. Hopefully this one will not have any weird voids in it. That was kind of a piss. So here's my circle cutting jig that after watching Mike Walt and Miguel Sanchez, I decided to make my own version of this, and I did some little different things. I've got a guide there, I've got the T-slot guide there, then I have a couple of stop blocks here that stop when they hit the table, and that aligns my blade with the pin that I have. And so I made a series of holes in this. I also like this because something that I like about it is I can take and put a block of wood on here. This is kind of hard while I'm holding my camera. Put a block of wood on here, align it like that, use the pin as a guide to hold that block of wood while I hold it down and then push it through, kind of using it almost as a fence or straight edge. It's a really nice way to do some quick cuts. I've been using it a lot like that, because then, so this is how it works. Okay, so the new base for this segmented bowl is going to be made out of a piece of Claro walnut. Okay, so I turned the new base after I had that problem with the old base. Turned the new base, glued it down to the segments, and now I have to stick it back on the lathe and turn the inside of the bowl because this new base was glued on and I'm sure it's just ever so slightly out of center. And then there is the pattern band that I'll be gluing on to that. And now I'm going to check it up on the lathe and turn the inside of the bowl and get it back to true. So I'm going to re-true up the inside of the bowl here. Okay, now I'm switching to my straight lifter down in the bottom here. Okay, so now I have the bowl rest on the back side of the bowl, and I've trued up this outside edge, and I'm just going to take some of this excess waste off of here. Okay, now just to make sure, because I have a walnut base, and sometimes this walnut can be pretty soft, I'm just going to tighten my chuck just a tiny bit. You don't want to over tighten, so you don't want to split it apart in the expansion mode, as Brendan Stemp just did a video regarding. Alright, there it is. So now what I'm going to be doing is gluing the pattern band, which I have right here. I'll be taking and gluing that on, and I think I'm going to do it offset like this and glue it on like that. Then I'll turn that down. Okay, so I'm going to try something a little new here. I've got my tailstock in here, tightened down. It's brought up here loosely. I have my indexing pin locked off so that the bowl won't turn. And then I've glued up the pattern band, and it's just loosely pinched right now between my tailstock and these two boards that I have that are making up the width here. And I'm going to try using my tailstock as a press in this situation. See what happens. And I'm just going to look at all the segments. And I almost feel like I should spin this one and split it like this. I think I will. It'll be a stronger bowl this way because I'm spanning. All the other seams line up, and I was thinking of doing a half lap, but then I liked the way it looked better. It's a full lap, and so I did the full lap, and now I think it's going to look better if I do a split stagger on this here. So that's what I'm going to try doing now. It's not going to be perfect. Okay, those are looking pretty good, pretty good, pretty good. Just a little bit up like that. Good. Good. All right. I think I'm liking that right there. That's about as good as it's going to get. So, I'm now pinching it good and tight because I want to make sure I have some gaps in here. I want to make sure this thing's pressed really nice and tight up against there. Another little tip I forgot to show is I placed just a piece of paper towel underneath this board so that any drip out wouldn't get over all over the bed of my lathe. I have the pattern ring now attached and glued up. It's only been curing for about an hour and a half, so I'm just going to do the outside for now, very carefully, slowly and carefully. And I just put some finish on the outside of the bowl, and I'm noticing that some of my oak, and I had a feeling this was going to happen, I did not surface one side of the oak, and I thought it might be kind of cool because it had some darkening, some oxidization of the oak. Unfortunately though, I had some of them turned in, some of them turned out, so my pattern's a little bit funny, but overall it's still looking really, really pretty. I wish I had paid more attention to that though, so in the future that's something to look out for, either that or just mill. I should have taken the time to mill all of the edges off. I just thought that some of the blackening might be kind of cool, but then I forgot to pay attention to it later, like I said, and make sure they were all either facing up or down or alternating or something like that. So anyway, there it is, the outside. Now I just have to work on the inside of the bowl. Okay, so now I'm ready to start hollowing this portion of the inside of the bowl. Okay, so here we go. I have it sanded down to 400 and dusted out, and now I'm going to apply some finish. Okay, so there it is. Came out really nice. Very pleased with it. A few funny little things, but in all, it is absolutely beautiful. So there it is. I'm going to pull it off the chuck now. So I will widen out and pull it off the chuck. And there it is. Beautiful. Came out really nice.